Hey guys. Okay, so I had a really great response for people asking questions, and I am going to just make a video. Bear with me. I had to actually kind of type up um, kind of an outline for this one just because there was quite a bit. So we're going to just start from the beginning. And someone asked, what were the first symptoms before diagnosis? I want you all to understand I am still going through a full diagnosis. There's multiple sclerosis has been out there for a long time for me. It's still out there. It's still on the shelf, but we are not quite finished with it yet. So um, just beware that there's going to be, I'm sure, some more stuff coming out shortly. Well, maybe shortly, maybe not, but there's still a bunch of testing at least through May yet. So, um, my first symptoms that brought this all about started when I was a teenager, but migraines, fatigue, severe fatigue, and we're talking fatigue where um, I easily could have slept 14, 16 hours at a time and still felt unrested. Um, Cold sensitive, I don't do good in the cold. A lot of people don't do well in the heat. I actually do a lot better in the heat, but I do not do good in the cold. Um, my body just seems to not want to work, and it just gets very hard for me to function. Um, the next question was, a couple years ago, I saw you used a cane to walk. I never knew why, and I was afraid to ask. Can you please explain? I would be happy to. So, my whole right side is what I consider to be numb. So, I still can feel things. It's more the sensation where it falls like when your foot falls asleep. So, I can still feel things. Temperatures are a little bit different on it. So, like if I poke it, like I can feel it, but it's kind of an annoying feeling. If I'm touching like hot water, it's better on my left hand than my right, but um, it's definitely a really different sensation from one side to the other. The right side is that way because the left side of my brain has the most lesions. So that's, your left side of your brain does the right side of your body and vice versa. Um, my What are your favorite gadgets or things to use that make your day easier to function? So this one is actually kind of a great question. So I have a jar opener and it has like three different sizes on it. Um, it's like the best thing ever. You can buy it at like any store. Um, I can use it on anything from like a pickle jar to like a baby canned food jar. Um, we have a lamp in our bedroom that's right next to my side of the bed that has a USB port on it for two reasons. One, so I don't have to reach behind the bed or behind the table to get to the outlet. And two, so that when we go to bed at night, I don't have to turn the light off and have to worry about walking in the dark. So I don't have to worry about tripping. The second or I'm sorry, the third thing that I really like that we have in our house are diffusers for essential oils. And if you come into our house, you're really not even going to notice that we have them. They're very strategic, they kind of just blend in. Um, I have some wood balls that are just kind of placed in random places that have oils on them. We have a actual like diffuser in one room. I have a dry diffuser in another room. We have some reed diffusers going in other places. Um, it really helps with, things like congestion and things like air control, air cleaning. Um, Another gadget or favorite thing is slip-on shoes. um, it takes a lot more energy for me to tie shoes, things like that. My pop socket on my phone, so like this little guy, because I don't have full control, function, muscle control on my right hand, so it's definitely a helpful tool. And then the next question was, do you have a house nurse or how do you manage your household? So no, we don't have a house nurse. I do live in a very helpful community. However, I don't utilize my neighbors the way I could. I am kind of stubborn that way, but if I do need my neighbors, they are all more than willing to help. My husband is a godsend, however, and he's always willing to do something. I do have to mentally slow down on simple things that I used to just be able to fly through. Simple things like tying my shoes, braiding my hair, they take twice as much effort, if not more, for me now. So it's a lot more trying than anything, and I unfortunately just don't do it. Um, I try not to use things like the stove, the oven, things that I can get myself hurt on when I'm alone or if it's just me and Ennis. I also try to keep the floor as level and clear as possible, but with a baby, it gets pretty tricky, and unfortunately, lately my falls have been more frequent, so um, it's definitely a very unique situation lately, but I do try to keep my phone on me so that if I do fall, I have a resource to get help. The next question says, I thought the heat bothered people with neuro complications, but you do fireworks and are usually running around like crazy. How are you different? This is a common misconception with neuro patients. So the truth is that usually people have a sensitivity to extreme temperatures on both the cold and the warm side. It's not just one side, it's one or the other. So what people don't see on the 4th of July is me cooling off in the camper trailer, which is why we usually take one, is so that we have some place that we can rest to cool off. So cooling off, we usually have cooling towels with us. We carry wet rags. We have lots and lots of cold water. We keep a fan in the camper. A couple of years we've had the AC on, so it does really get cool enough in there that the heat does not become overbearing for anybody that's working with us, not just myself. What is the best gift to give somebody with neuro complications? Oh, this is a great question. So it's obviously different for everybody, and it's per likes, dislikes, symptoms. It's going to depend on how things work for that person. For me specifically, necklaces, bracelets, as beautiful and appreciated as they are, I probably will never, ever, ever wear them unless I can ask my husband to help me wear them. Church is probably the only time that it will ever get worn, honestly. And that's simply because it has a clasp and I can't get my fingers to work. So, the little things that, I, again, like braiding my hair, tying my shoes, clasps on jewelry that I used to once be able to do. It's unfortunately just one of those things. But if you do know the things that I do like, my hobbies, knickknacks like my birds and things like that I like and it matches our house. Things like that, books are great gifts for me personally. I'm not talking for everybody because obviously everybody has different things, but it's just, you just gotta go based on the person that you know. So, How can you work, let alone function, with all the symptoms you have? So, I talk a lot about my right side weakness and numbness, but there are multiple symptoms that I do have that, they're that I haven't been talking about that are coming out more and more now. Um, a lot of it is the coherency and um, the speech issues that are becoming more prominent, and memory issues and things like that Jamie and I have been very concerned about. So um, a lot of that is just now becoming more prominent. It was there before, but it wasn't an issue before, if that makes sense. So when somebody is born without a limb or with a disability, they learn different ways to do something that you just learn how to do something normally, right? To them, that's a normal way to do it. So when my body says, nope, this isn't going to work anymore, it finds a different way to do it. My central nervous system says, okay, we're not going to walk this way anymore, right? So like when I used my cane, I had to relearn essentially how to walk with that cane on a normal level so that I wasn't tripping all over the place, and that spatial recognition was different because I had an additional piece to my body. So there wasn't a learning curve there, and that piece was there that wasn't there before. So in my mind, that cane became a part of my body, and that was a part of that learning curve, so that I had something that I could function as a normal person. And a few years ago, when I started using my cane, my body just decided that it really didn't want to work anymore. It wasn't going to have the energy or the feeling to walk around. It didn't want to do that anymore. So I had to stop working. I gained a lot of weight. I had to do what I had to do and figure a way around it. And it was probably one of the hardest things that Jamie and I went through in our marriage, and it almost costed us our marriage. We got through it together, and we did what we had to do together to get myself better. I lost about 60 pounds through the entire process. We got pregnant with Ennis, and during that pregnancy, my body went back to pre-illness. It honestly was like the best time of my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I've had great times during my illness, but being able to feel things normally, and by normal, I mean my non-normal normal. So without the pain and without the normal sensations that I would normally have. And then a couple of months after I had him, my body just went, ha ha ha, not today. We're going back to the way we were, and worse. So now it's a totally different challenge, and going through this ginormous flare up with Ennis at home, and it's very, very challenging. There's new challenges with this one. There's a lot more to this testing round. So I'm not going to get into a whole lot of it right now, just because there is still some privacy that Jamie and I want to adhere to for our family's sake right now. Eventually, we will explain what's going on, but what I can say is right now, everything is being managed and we are okay. We are getting through it. Our family is stronger than ever. But we will let out another video and explain what's going on when we have more answers for everybody. But I just wanted to address people's concerns and questions that you guys have had for so long that you have not had a chance to ask, because it's something that I feel like has been pushing people away. And I don't want people to feel that way. I want people to be like, oh, well, we can still talk to her. We can still hang out with her. Just because Shayna's going through something doesn't mean we have to stop hanging out or talk to her, right? So I'm still here. I can still do things. I can still, go bowling. I can still go for a walk. I can still, go for a trip. I can still do things. It just looks a little different sometimes. So, sometimes it looks normal, sometimes it doesn't. It's really just a matter of day by day basis. But I love every single one of you, and I'm so glad that you guys were brave enough to ask the questions that you did, and I appreciate you so much. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to just reach out. If there's more than, just a hand, if there's another handful of questions, maybe I'll do another video. But I think because there was so many questions, I'm going to share the video on Facebook and not just on YouTube. Okay? Love you.